And volume is actually the measure of space occupied by a solid region. So whenever we are doing volume, we are finding the measure of space. So I want to know how much area is inside, not on the outside, on the inside of a solid region. All right, so if I'm looking at this jar back here, and you guys can look here. All right, this is just a mason jar. It's actually an old school peanut butter jar. I have no idea how old this is because I don't even remember when Peter Pan logos looked like that, and you know, I'm ancient. So, hey, whoever's got music going on in their earbuds, Jonathan, are you covering up earbuds with your mask? Okay, turn them off. All right, so if I'm talking about the volume here, I have paper clips inside of this. All right, I could find the volume based on the unit of paper clips, how many paper clips I could occupy inside of this space. Sometimes you see things like how many inches, cubic inches, so that's talking about like how many little cubes could I fit inside of this. Obviously we know that cubes wouldn't perfectly fit in a rounded shape. You guys all know that, right? We couldn't, if we put cubes in here, we would have empty space. But we are trying to find sometimes it's an estimate, sometimes we want an exact of how much space can be occupied in a solid region. So the formula for a rectangular prisms are just boxes. So boxes, we have a length, a width, and a height. What's the volume? Do you guys remember how to find the volume if you have a length, a width, and a height? Length times width. So volume equals length times width times height. And whenever we're measuring in volume, we are trying to figure out, like for a rectangular prism, how many cubes we could fit in that. So we always do, for our labels, like if it's centimeters, we write centimeters cubed. If it's inches, we say inches cubed. It just depends on what measurement we are using. So we are going to do a couple examples here together. All right, so do you guys have your calculators? All right, so first of all, out of these, which one is the length? All right, sure, we're going to call that the length. What's the width?
2.
And what's the height?
4.
All right, now I will tell you, have you noticed on that one I made a lowercase or a cursive L instead of just a printed L? It doesn't look like a 1. I did put a regular L when I wrote it up at the top. That's probably something that we should get in the habit of, is using a cursive L, because we can't italicize our printed L's like the computer does. But we want to make sure that that's not confused with a 1. So when you see that cursive L, that's why I do that, and I don't write the other 2 in cursive, just so that L doesn't look like a 1. So for our volume, we are taking length times width times height.
Can we get a decimal?
You can get a decimal. So our length is 7.5, our width is 2, and our height is 4. So can we multiply all of those together at the same time? Weston, why are you shaking your head no? Why can't I type in 7.5 times 2 times 4? Okay, you were shaking your, I said, can I type it all in at once?
You said you can multiply them all at the same time.
Well, that's what I meant. Like,
Mr. Gardner, wait, can I say something? Mr. Gardner, he like tricked our whole class. He was like, can I multiply all these numbers at the same time? Everybody was saying yes, but he got on this. That because you have to type in one number.
oh my gosh. Well, I'm not trying to trick you, but can you type them all on your calculator as one step? All right, so 7.5, which I know you probably can't see what I'm typing on my calculator, times 2 times 4, and that gives us an answer of what? 60. So Harmony, you said, can you get a decimal? The answer is yes, you can have a decimal, but on this one it ended up being a whole number. So we would write our volume as 60, but we cannot forget our units. So what are we measuring in this time? Inches, and it's inches cubed. And think about this. How many things did we multiply together? 3. Length, width, height. That's That can also help you remember if you multiply 3 things, it's going to be inches cubed. All right, now on the next one, same thing, length times width times height. All right, what's my length here?
4.
4. What's my width?
5.1.
And my height?
9.
All right. Let's multiply those together. So we got 4 times 5.1 times 9. You guys get a whole number or a decimal when you multiply those?
Decimal.
All right, and it says round to the nearest tenth. How many places is that after the decimal?
1.
All right, so that's just one place after the decimal.
So it'll be 180.7.
Yep. Well, the 6 is just one place. There's no numbers after that to tell us to round.
Okay.
Now, if there were numbers after that 6 harmony, then we would have to look at it to see if it stayed a 6 or rounds up to a 7.
So it stays the same.
That one stays the same. And then our unit, we measured in centimeters, but what am I forgetting? Cubed. All right, what do you guys think? It is easy. Now, I want to know, do you guys all know how to draw a rectangular prism?
No.
Okay, let's see who can draw the best fish tank down here. All right, so we are finding the volume of a fish tank. I have a fish tank at my house. It's one of my favorite things at my house. I have like 13 fish.
I used to have 2.
My favorite fish is, it's a pleco. It's like the big one that eats the algae at the bottom. He's like 18 inches long. His name is Jack Black. I used to have a fish that had like a little stamp that looked like Mickey Mouse on it, and so its name was Toodles, but Toodles didn't survive over the summer.
I don't know how to draw one.
All right, so if you guys are drawing a fish tank, first of all, it's 8 feet long and 5 feet wide. So we want to go 8 feet long. All right, so, and we know it's 5.5 feet tall. Now to make your depth, you just make little diagonal lines and then draw a line straight down, and then you just make a diagonal to complete the box. And then we can make a little dotted line for what we don't actually see for the back and the sides. You don't have to put that in. All right, so on this one, let's for fun. You guys like my little fish? I can't really draw fish. And we have our little water line. All right, and my fish tank has a little boat. Okay. Gregory, make sure you stop drawing the fish tank. We're going to do math for a second. I know that you're probably going to make a really cool fish tank, and I want to see it when you're done. All right, so how do I label this? All right, what number am I going to put right here?
8.
All right, that's 8 feet. 8 feet long, 5 feet wide. And then where do I put my 5.5?
Up and down.
Up and down. All right, so for our volume, we are going to do length times width times height. So 8 times 5 times 5.5. Hey, do we get a whole number or a decimal here? Whole number? What is that whole number, Jonathan?
220.
All right, 220, and my label is feet cubed. All right, let me see these fish tanks.
Mine's like that because Weston told me to make like that. Well, you didn't even put fish in it. I have to put fish in it? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was
Decorate your fish tank. I have a couple fish. I have a boat.
know how to draw fish.
It is live.
Fish are sign sideways?
Kind of.
I just started. Yeah. Two fish, one fish in water.
One fish in your fish tank. That's gonna be a lonely fish.
Oh my god, this is
They're school, like, they like to be in groups. Fish travel in little schools. You can't just buy a single fish and let it be alone. They'll be sad.
Oh,
Unless it's a beta fish, and then you don't want to put two beta fish together.
have a fight.
They will
Unless
fight.
they're male and female.
No,
They're aggressive.
they still fight.
Yeah, that's no good.
We had a carnival fish and we had it for like 4 years.
Really? Just like a goldfish?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, it died this year because we got another fish from PetSmart
Uh-huh.
and it killed it.
Yeah,
They both died.
goldfish. That is something, I think goldfish are really pretty, and I wanted to get goldfish for my tank, but they told us that, I guess goldfish, they produce ammonia. Like, ammonia is like what's in like window cleaner and
Yeah.
things like that, and they are okay to live with that ammonia around them, but the other fish can't. And so then it's toxic for the other fish. Yes.
We actually had goldfish before. That didn't happen to our fish.
You know, say, I know, like some fish, like I will say my fish are probably really strong, because I'll be honest, like I am horrible about like deep cleaning the fish tank. So I feel like my fish have like, they're strong enough to withstand like really bad water. But
My mom never wanted to clean the fish tank. She let my brother do it.
all right, so do you guys have any questions about volume? We've got to stop the fish talk for just a little bit.
One more thing.
Nope. No fish talk. All right. Any questions on the front page before we go to the back?
Nope.
All right, Leighton, how's it going? Haven't seen you for a while. Doing okay? All right, so I want you to look at these. Okay, we see lots of measurements. Some of them are listed more than once. Okay, so the length of, first of all, the length, width, and height are all 2, right? So even though we see these, do you guys see that those two are actually measuring the same thing? Those are both measuring the length. And then these two are measuring the same thing, and then that one kind of stands alone. So whenever we're multiplying those, we are just doing 2 times 2 times 2, which is what? Oh,
Just kidding, I lied.
all right, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And what's my label? Meters cubed.
Wow, that explains that correct.
All right, on that second one, even though we see 5 numbers, how many are we only using? 3. All right, which one do you think is the length?
17.
Sure, 17. What's your width? 10. And what's your height?
4.
All right, what is 17 times 10 times 4? 680. And don't forget your label. What is it? Not squared. Cubed. Squared would be an exponent of 2. Cubed is an exponent of 3. All right, do you guys want to try 3 and 4 by yourself? Hmm? 3 and 4. Try them both. And don't forget your labels. All right, JC, what'd you get for number 3? What was the number? Sorry, I couldn't hear.
36.
Did you say 36? 836. Okay. I would say, I'm not going to lie, I probably have hearing loss. I can't hear very well. So, you guys should have taken, and in these orders, it might be a little bit different, but I did 11 times 4 times 19. Now, if you put those in a different order, does it matter? No, multiplying the order doesn't matter, but when you multiply, you should get 836, and we can't forget our inches cubed. How'd you guys do?
Pretty good. I got both right.
All right. For length, width, and height, did you guys use 6, 5, and 7?
Yep.
In whatever order you chose those to be? All right. Harmony, what'd you get for that answer?
Wait, what? Oh, 210.
And your label? All right. Do you guys have any questions at all? All right. So for 5, 6, and 7.
You have to draw it.
Oh, I'm not going to make you draw on these. That one was just for fun with the fish tank. All right. So we have. What this is telling us is that the base of it is 10 by 7. I'm going to draw. You don't have to. So it's telling you that this is 10 by 7. And then it's going to be 12 meters tall. So it's actually going to be a little bit taller than it is wide. And I probably didn't draw that to scale because I'm running out of space. So if you guys take 10 times 7 times 12, what do we get for that? 840, and my label is meters cubed. Now, I want you to take a look at the next one. What does a square prism mean? If it says 6 kilometers along each edge and then 5 kilometers tall, what's that going to look like? All right, so it says a square prism. What does square mean?
The bottom is a square and the top is like into a triangle.
It's not into a triangle. It's still a square. So, but what this is telling you is that the base is a square that's 6 by 6. So you are going to have one that's 6 kilometers wide and then 6 kilometers for the width, but then the height is 5. So it's not going to be a perfect cube. Hello. I do. Okay, it'll be like 2 minutes. All right. Bye. Weston, you have somewhere to go in 2 minutes. Don't. Mrs. Couch. Guidance across the hall. Okay, so